Bill Belichick was speaking recently to the Patriots official website about how they managed to figure out a way to contain the Kansas City offense. And we spent a lot of time last week talking about Tyreek Hill and the damage he's done to the Patriots defense and how important it was to shut him down. Here's Bill Belichick. Do we have Bill Belichick talking about it? We do have it. Here's Bill Belichick talking about what they did to take away Tyreek Hill in the AFC Championship game.
Really the first third down play of the game. We double covered Hill here, and of course there was some of that in the game as well. And you can see that Mahomes is looking over here, trying to throw the ball. It's saying this general area somewhere, and there's the double coverage on Hill. And that gives our rush an opportunity to get there. So we'll run the three-man game inside, and that's Kyle Van Noy coming around into the pocket and making tackle.
And if you're watching it on NBCSN, well, you saw it. If you're listening on radio, what happened there, and they showed this during the game, the look that they give is the single high safety. That's right. The one guy who plays deep center field while everyone underneath is either in tight zone or man coverage.
Right.
And that guy in single high safety was immediately going over to the side of the field where Tyreek Hill was, providing double coverage of Tyreek Hill. And that forced Patrick Mahomes to hold on to the football longer, and that's what they did to hold Hill to one catch for 42 yards. And that's an example, Chris, of what we've been hearing for years about Bill Belichick.
Right.
He will find what the other offense does best and come up with a way to take it away.
Yeah, he's brilliant that way. And then, also brilliant to know, okay, yeah, maybe I have one of the best corners in football and Stephon Gilmore, but it's not realistic for me to ask him to just go around the field and cover maybe the fastest guy in the history of the sport one-on-one. So he said, you know what? Okay. And Mike, they did that defense there almost every snap of the game until the third quarter when they finally changed up with a few new wrinkles here and there. But they double-teamed Tyreek Hill with Jonathan Jones and McCourty over the top. And then they said, you know what? Okay, Stephon Gilmore, you shut down Sammy Watkins. J.C. Jackson, you take Travis Kelce. And it threw Kansas City for a loop. Nobody had defended them like that all year long, especially on a consistent basis. You had certain plays where Tyreek Hill was doubled. But New England literally said first, second down, it didn't matter. We're doubling Tyreek Hill. He's not going deep on us. And then the extra element that we saw there, if you were watching on TV, and I'll explain to all the radio listeners, was what they did with the pass rush, right? He kind of slides that in there. Oh, then we had a looping linebacker. Well, that was one of the other keys we talked about to the game, right? Was not letting Mahomes out of the pocket. So that was a great example of two things Belichick did game plan-wise, of keeping Mahomes in the pocket and then taking away the number one option / number one threat on that Kansas City offense.
And we talk about that now, number one, because it confirms a lot of the things we thought going into the AFC Championship game, but also it opens the door now to trying to figure out what Bill Belichick will do against the Rams offense. And it was 17 years ago, and that game will be played 17 years to the day after Super Bowl 36, when Belichick came up with a two-pronged approach to shutting down the greatest show-offs on turf. I mean, the greatest show on turf, when they dropped 8 guys into coverage and dared Mike Martz to run the ball. And on top of that, they were physical with Marshall Faulk every chance they could get. Every legitimate hit they could apply to Marshall Faulk, they did it to bang him up and rough him up and keep him from dominating the game. And so I can see them doing the same thing this time. Right?
Definitely.
Because they've got the passing game. They've got Todd Gurley. You attack Todd Gurley, hit Todd Gurley, test that knee. That's code for attack that knee. And go after him whenever you can with defensive linemen and linebackers, but also drop guys into coverage, flood the lanes, and take away what Jared Goff is going to try to do by getting the ball to Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods and Josh Reynolds.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think there's going to be the two things. First of all, the beauty of the Rams offense is guys like if you're seeing on TV here with Cooks and Woods, one's got 80 receptions, the one's got 86 receptions. They're both right around 1,200 yards. It's one's 5 touchdowns, the other 6 touchdowns. So you can't put your eggs in the, we have to stop the Robert Cooks or Brandon Cooks player because these guys, the beauty of the Rams and what McVay have in this duo is they're interchangeable. They can kind of do everything. So there's not like one specific role for one guy, like Tyreek Hill was the deep guy and Sammy Watkins was really the shallow cross guy. They don't do that as much. So again, I think they will play some man-to-man. Nobody plays more man-to-man than the New England Patriots. And guys like Gilmore and J.C. Jackson, and I'm just going to say this right now, that duo, they are better than Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters right now at this point of their career. I'm sorry. Gilmore and J.C. Jackson are special, and what they are under a lot of pressure on a weekly basis. So they will certainly have to play some man-to-man and match up that way. But I think the other thing, Mike, that they will really want to stop, let's not forget, the Rams are the number, 3 rushing offense in football. And I think that's where Bill's going to look at the game and go, we need to take away this aspect, not necessarily just because of the run game, but most of their offense comes off of the run game, right? The fake the speed sweep, fake the run, play action pass, fake the speed sweep, fake the run, bootleg out to the edge, where if you were just watching on TV, you saw Jared Goff throw a few bootlegs. I think he's going to be more concerned about playing like a bear front, Mike, right? The bear front where you're going to put 3 big D linemen over the center and the 2 guards and say, okay, you're not running up the middle, and then they're going to have guys on the edge ready for bootlegs, play actions, Robert Woods speed sweeps. That's where I think probably it will start for New England when they start to break the Rams down.
So that means instead of dropping guys into coverage, you're going to be more aggressive at the line of scrimmage. Trust Gilmore and Jackson to cover Cooks and Woods. And, here's ultimately what happens. Can you do the thing that Belichick is trying to force you to do? Because that's ultimately what he's trying to do. He wants to take away your bread and butter. He wants to take away your easy yards, your easy points, and force you to do something you don't want to do. Force Patrick Mahomes to roll to his left instead of his right, for example. Force Patrick Mahomes to go somewhere other than Tyreek Hill. You want to make the players uncomfortable. You want to make the coaches uncomfortable. What we saw with Super Bowl 36, Chris, was Mike Martz was too stubborn to take what Bill Belichick was giving him.
Right.
The question is, with Sean McVay, who turns 33 today, Bill Belichick is 66. Will McVay take what Belichick is giving him?
I do think he's smart enough to do that. I don't think, McVay's ego is out of control as maybe some of the other offensive geniuses in football or in the history of football. McVay is a very intelligent guy, and from my just experiences being around him, he's always open to ideas, listening. That's why he's got other great coaches on his staff. He's not trying to be a dictator. He's trying to accumulate the best guys and the most knowledge he possibly can. I think the big thing there with, and we always talk about this with New England, right, Mike, is this. The number one thing you have to do when you play the New England Patriots, I think, when you go to the Super Bowl, is self-scout thyself, right? Because Belichick is going to be all over some of your key plays and key principles. So if the receiver on the left runs a post a lot and the receiver on the right runs a deep cross a lot, you have to do opposites to start the game at some point. You got to go, hey, receiver on the left, you're not running a post. We're going to have you run a post corner, and the guy who runs the deep cross, we're going to have you fake the cross and come back out. You're going to have to do things like that to go, hey, New England, you're not going to sit here and just sit on our bread and butter. We got other things off of this, and you better be ready to defend that as well. I think that's where it has to start for the Rams offense.
It sounds like you almost have to be prepared to whip up a new loaf of bread and go find a new tub of butter. I mean, and McVay, I think, has the capacity to do that, where you're basically coming up with a new playbook just for this game. And you have to wonder, because look at what happened with the Rams early on. They emerged fairly quickly this year as a team that was going to be a serious contender.
Yep.
And McVay's smart enough to see how the dominoes are going to fall and who he may have to face, and that Belichick is looming out there. Would it shock us to know that McVay has already had for weeks now a plan cooked up for what he would do, kind of like that switch to southpaw, where Bill Belichick is ready based upon everything he's seen all year long, and McVay is going to trot out plenty of things that no one has seen this year from the Rams? Is that possible?
I think it is possible. I'm not going to say that they've dove into that at any point prior to this week, but I think that, hey, you're playing New England Patriots, and we talk about all the time how on a week-to-week basis they change their game plan and do things like that. That's what makes them great, and you have to be able to match wits with them in that capacity. And this is why the 2 weeks of the Super Bowl is great, because now McVay has a full week here of, they're practicing, but he really gets to tinker with a lot of ideas and how he wants to mess with this Patriots defense and some of the things Bill likes to do as well. And yes, we're going to see what he's got in the old, bag of tricks here, and hopefully he can bring out something interesting that keeps New England on edge.
Yeah, I mean, and that's going to be part of the fascinating impact of the game. And it's not going to manifest itself while we're watching. It's almost something where after the fact you have to look at the film and look at what the Rams are doing in comparison to what they've done, what works, what doesn't work. But, yeah, it's two of the smartest coaches in football. It's just one is exactly half the age of the other.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.